Hello, everyone. How do you know when he is the one? And I'm not gonna say she, just because, again, these are my experiences. Complete love to everyone. Every human should be respected for who they are. Please use your own inner truth barometer to figure out whether what I'm saying is right for you or not. Take what works, leave what doesn't. Right off the bat, I will say, before you even get with the person that you're dating, or if you are already with someone, that you do need to sit down and ask yourself, what do I want from a relationship? And I do almost feel that you need to categorize in order from like most important to maybe like 5 to 10 things that you really, really want. In my future relationship, love and true friendship and connection was the absolute number one. And to a lot of people, it's not. A lot of people are okay with thinking in their head, I want a partner that I can be really successful, that is we're gonna financially be able to elevate, or I want a parent that I feel like I can, I want to have a lot of children and I want to be a stay-at-home mom and I feel like this guy can provide that for me. Or I want a person that is into sports and that's my top priority. Although it may seem kind of like obvious that love is the top thing, I feel like a lot of marriages, love isn't the top thing, and that you need to be honest with yourself. Like, I have friends where looks is the top priority. And when certain things are your top priority, you may find that other things can't be. So if looks is your top priority, maybe kindness can't be your second top priority. It may be maybe money or finances, because maybe being extremely good looking may come along more commonly with being successful and things like that. So again, there are exceptions to every rule, but I will do another video on finding a person that is right for you. But let's just, for the purposes of this video, assume that you already have a person that you're with. Perhaps you've been together for a while. My experience was, I knew after the third date that I wanted to marry my husband, that I knew he was the one for me. I will say this, at the time, I actually thought in my mind, I do not know if this man wants to marry me. I don't know if I'm also fitting his inner criteria. And I believe everybody has an inner criteria in their mind, even if it's subconscious. When you go to the bar or the Tinder or whatever, when you're online shopping for good people, there are subconsciously things that you look for. You may look for a suit and tie, or you may look for somebody that's, wearing athletic outfits, or a very good looking person, or a very tall person, or a very popular person. You see them in lots of photos with other people. So subconsciously, there are things that we look for. So be honest with yourself about what your criteria is, because if your absolute top criteria is money, you may not feel the emotional connection that, say, me and my husband have. So, and I'm not hating on those people. If that works for you, if two people come together as adults and say, these are my life goals, you match those life goals, I want to move forward with you. I feel like that is a recipe for a successful marriage, when two people are being honest with themselves, come together and are able to say, our goals match, let's move forward. So I might say a couple things that maybe you don't like, but I'm gonna say that this is my truth. So right off the bat, if you're watching this video, there's a good chance he's not the one. Because I'll say this, I had boyfriends before where I would kind of like ask friends like, is your boyfriend the one? Like, how did you know? Blah, 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 blah. And when you're seeking that outer validation, and when you're asking people like, how did you know he was the one? Da, 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 that's a red flag. That's bad news bears for you. In the aspect that tells me that he's not the one, because if he really was, like, I knew after the third date that my husband was the one for me. Again, I didn't know if he felt the same way, but I didn't need to confirm that with anybody. I felt a feeling that I had never felt with anybody before, and it wasn't just like that like electric buzz that you get, which is unbelievably amazing, from the first initial like rush of the beginning of a relationship, when you've maybe like hung out a few times and you're like, you have that really like intense conversation or whatever, and you're just like, oh my God, like I really like this guy and he really likes me and like whatever. But there's another kind of like inner calm that comes along with knowing he's the one, where it's like, you ask people how, if they know if they love their dog or not, or do you ask people if you know that somebody is your best friend or not? You often don't, because you just know internally. If he's not the one and you're realizing it, it's better to realize it and not be with that person, or she's not the one, I should say as well. If the person you're dating is not the one and you realize that, the sooner you realize it, the better, because it's, in my opinion, it's better to break up with someone and then be open to the potential of the real true person that you want to be with, rather than try to change who someone else is fundamentally. Now, with that said, I'm not telling everyone to just dump their partner and the person that they're with. If you have, say, those top 3 criteria, maybe, okay, for me, it was like love and connection and a friendship, and then probably trust and honesty. Like, I needed to know that this person would never cheat on me, whether or not they were on a weekend trip with their buddies or not. I needed to just internally know that my husband was like going to be like that good guy in the group that just like doesn't cheat. So trust, so like love, trust, and then probably responsibility. I did feel, like this throughout my childhood. And I just wanted to know that when my husband said, I will be there at 6 o'clock, he was going to be there at 6 o'clock. There was no question. There was no having to remind him. There was no having to worry. There was no letdown. So for me, those were my top 3 things. So for example, if you have somebody and they are meeting your top 3 things, but then let's say they're not super clean, or they don't like the shows that you like, I would personally recommend trying to discuss those things and come to some sort of agreement rather than just dumping the person. The other thing I would say is ask yourself how you feel when you're with him and when you're not with him. So although you may get a high from being in love with someone, also think about the lows. To me, too many lows isn't worth it. But again, I decided that there was going to be a line drawn in my life where moving forward, only men that met certain criterias were going to be able to date me. So ask yourself how you feel. And just because you feel really good or excited or like a drug doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship is healthy. The opinions on this video may not be ideal, but basically this is it. Are you lying to yourself? Most people are about something. I am, and I didn't even, this blows my mind that some people hear voices. Like, I have an inner like dialogue that talks to me, that's my own voice, but like some people see lists and stuff. So like if that's you, like you're so interesting to me. But for me, I hear it, what I'm thinking. So basically I remember consciously with my last boyfriend, because he was such a nice guy. And like when I broke up with him, the first time, my mom was like, I think you two should go to counseling. I think you should try to work it out, because there was really nothing wrong with this person in particular. We just weren't the right fit for each other. I was 27 years old. I really didn't want to have to start from scratch. I was nervous about, being a mom, meeting somebody and being young enough to be able to get pregnant. But I decided, bottom line was that I couldn't be with someone for the rest of my life just because I wanted to be a parent. So we did end up breaking up. And like my point is that every time I tried to tell myself like, oh, it's fine, blah, 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 I'd have this like inner voice that would be like, no, it's not, it's not, like, you really want this, when you hang out, like, like, it's like a little boring or whatever. So I had this like inner dialogue and inner monologue, and truly that, once you stop ignoring that and start listening to that, your whole life will change. I love my inner voice. It is my inner truth, and it will take you places that you don't necessarily want to go in that moment. There are times when you don't really want to break up with that guy, but that inner voice just will not let go. And for me, following my inner voice has just been so freeing, and I like the inner voice. Go inner voice. So that's my opinion. Do you think about what you want to change about him? If it's anything major, if it's anything on the top 5 of your list, then I would say seriously question that. Okay, let's say the person's overweight. Even if you can get them in shape, if truly fitness is a passion of yours and the person is not healthy, you can change them in the moment, but do you really want to change them? And that's the question. And can people really be changed? I think people can only change when they want to change. You cannot make anyone else change. So for example, if you broke up with the person, then 5 years saw them at the gym, they had naturally become super fit on their own. That is a totally different scenario, but forcing someone to be something else than who they are, even if it's technically better, never works. Another question, are you okay with it just being the two of you? For example, when you're on a trip, a vacation, camping, whatever, do you always want to invite another couple along? Do you always feel the need to have more people than just the two of you? To me, that is a red flag. Let's say you have a bunch of kids and the cousins want to come. Maybe that's a different scenario, but if in your own heart, when it's just the two of you, you're feeling bored, you're feeling unstimulated, you're wanting someone else to come in and, you know, make this situation more interesting, that's a red flag to me. Again, if that's on your important scale, these are things that were important to me and my own opinion and experience. I encourage you to make your own list of what is important and analyze for yourself. Do you question your love? Have you broken up? To me, that is a red flag. If you are questioning your love, that is a red flag for me. I have never questioned my love for my husband in 12 years. I've never questioned it. There have been times where I worried, especially around the time when we got engaged, whether or not I was healthy enough to be a married person, to have a long-term marriage. People in my family, and I hate to say this, but tend to get married and then there's a period of marriage and then there's a period of divorce. And I truly was worried because we were together for 5 years and we were so happy that things would change like this, and mostly me, that I would become like a cycle, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And then we just stop having fun all of a sudden. So again, this would go back, I think, to the listening to yourself and not lying to yourself about what you are saying to yourself. Are you questioning this relationship? That is a red flag. For right now, I would say know yourself, work on yourself, make your own list, and also be a little bit flexible, because guess what? You are not perfect either. There are probably things that you are doing that drives your partner nuts. And I think, again, a long-term relationship is able to talk about those things as long as you have those base things that you both have that are important to you, and you both agree. Maybe the top 5 things, but to me, when you know your list, you're able to find another person more easily that also knows their list. And when 2 lists match, well, not always. I find successful marriages are where you see that relationship working towards the same goals. Sometimes it is financial, sometimes it is emotional and just love and growth. Sometimes it is really fixated on just raising an amazing child. Different people have different goals, and I do really want you to be with a partner that has the same goals as you, because I find that makes life easier, in my opinion. So thank you so much for watching. I am truly grateful to each one of my subscribers. If that is you, I am truly grateful for you. Thank you very much. My true wish for you is that you find your own truth in yourself, find your life, your path, and live your most amazing, happy, fulfilled, and authentic life possible. That is literally my wish for you.